A possessive CEO married poor girl BCZ. She is pregnant with his triplets. After that night, picture this. A stormy night, rain lashing against the windows of a luxurious penthouse, and two lives colliding in ways neither could have ever imagined. It all starts with one reckless decision, a moment that changes everything forever. She's an ordinary girl, trying to make ends meet, working long hours at a job she hates just to survive. He's powerful, wealthy beyond measure, and used to getting what he wants without question. But when fate brings them together, their worlds are turned upside down in ways they never saw coming. And now she carries his triplets, a secret that will bind them for life and force him to confront emotions he's spent years burying deep inside. The story begins with Emma, a kind-hearted but struggling woman who has always put others before herself. Life hasn't been easy for her. Growing up poor taught her resilience, but it also left scars that run deeper than anyone knows. Her days are filled with endless shifts at a small cafe downtown where tips barely cover rent, let alone dreams of something better. Then there's Adrian Carter, the enigmatic CEO of one of the largest corporations in the city. To most people, he's untouchable, cold, calculating, and fiercely possessive about his empire. But behind closed doors, Adrian is a man haunted by loneliness, someone who built walls so high around himself that no one can get close enough to see the cracks. Their paths cross on what seems like any other night, at least until it isn't. A charity gala hosted by Adrian's company becomes the backdrop for their unexpected encounter. Emma is there as part of the catering staff, invisible to the glittering crowd, sipping champagne and exchanging business cards. But not to Adrian. Something about her catches his eye, though he can't quite explain why. Maybe it's the way she moves through the room with quiet grace. Or maybe it's the sadness in her eyes that mirrors his own. Whatever it is, it draws him in, pulling him toward her like a magnet. And then, after too many drinks, and even more unresolved tension, one impulsive kiss leads to a night neither of them planned for. Weeks later, Emma discovers she's pregnant with triplets. The news hits her like a tidal wave, leaving her breathless and terrified. How did this happen? What is she supposed to do now? She knows Adrian needs to know, but telling him feels impossible. After all, how do you approach a man like him with news that could shatter his carefully constructed world? For his part, Adrian remains oblivious, buried under mountains of work and responsibilities. But fate has other plans, and soon enough, their lives collide once again in a way that leaves both of them reeling. When Adrian finally learns the truth, his reaction is anything but predictable. At first, anger simmers beneath the surface. Anger at himself for losing control. Anger at the situation spiraling out of his grasp. But beneath the fury lies something else, fear. Fear of losing something precious before he even had a chance to hold it. In a twist neither of them saw coming, Adrian makes a decision that shocks everyone, including himself. He insists on marrying Emma, not out of obligation, but because he refuses to let her face this alone. His reasoning is simple, yet complicated. If these babies are his, then they deserve everything he can give them. And so does she. Emma, however, isn't convinced. Marriage to a man she barely knows. A man whose reputation precedes him. Known for being ruthless in both business and relationships. It sounds like a recipe for disaster. Yet despite her doubts, she agrees. Because deep down, she knows she'll need help raising 3 babies on her own. And so, they embark on this strange, uneasy arrangement, bound together by circumstance rather than choice. As they navigate the early stages of their marriage, tensions rise between them. Adrian's possessiveness begins to show itself in ways Emma hadn't anticipated, while her independence clashes with his need for control. But amidst the chaos, moments of tenderness start to emerge. Small gestures, an extra blanket placed over her shoulders during sleepless nights, a soft word spoken when frustration threatens to boil over, hint at something deeper brewing beneath the surface. Could there be more to this marriage than duty and obligation? Or are they destined to remain strangers, sharing a home and a family? As the months pass, the reality of their situation sets in. Emma struggles to adapt to her new life, torn between gratitude for the security Adrian provides and resentment over the freedom she's lost. Meanwhile, Adrian wrestles with his own demons, grappling with feelings he doesn't understand and instincts he can't ignore. Their relationship becomes a delicate dance, each step fraught with uncertainty, and just when it seems like they might find some semblance of peace, a shocking revelation throws everything into turmoil once again. Someone from Adrian's past resurfaces, bringing secrets that threaten to destroy the fragile foundation they've built. This person knows things about Adrian that even Emma doesn't, things that could change how she sees him forever. As the truth comes to light, Emma must decide whether to stand by Adrian or walk away from the only man who's ever made her feel truly seen. Even if seeing him means confronting the darkness within him. And then, just as the tension reaches its peak, we're left hanging on a cliffhanger. Will Emma stay or leave? Can Adrian prove himself worthy of her trust? Or will his past consume them both? With the birth of the triplets looming closer, the stakes have never been higher. Every choice they make now will shape not only their future, but the lives of the 3 tiny hearts waiting to enter the world. So buckle up, because this story is far from over, and the twists ahead promise to keep you guessing until the very end. Emma's days are a blur of doctor's appointments, baby books, and trying to adjust to the opulent lifestyle Adrian insists she embrace. The mansion he brought her to feels more like a museum than a home. Cold marble floors, towering ceilings, and rooms so vast they echo with silence. Every morning, she wakes up alone in their king-size bed, staring at the ceiling, as her mind races with questions. Who is this man lying beside her every night? Why does he look at her sometimes with such intensity, as if he's searching for something in her eyes? And why does his touch send shivers down her spine, even when it's meant to reassure? Adrian, on the other hand, is battling his own demons. For years, he's prided himself on being untouchable, a master strategist who plays life like a game of chess. But now, everything feels unpredictable. He watches Emma move through the house, her presence softening its hard edges, yet reminding him constantly of how different they are. She doesn't belong here, not because she's unworthy, but because she's too pure for this world of calculated moves and hidden agendas. Still, he can't let her go. Not after what happened between them. Not after learning she carries his children. So, he clings to control, dictating schedules, hiring staff without consulting her, and making decisions about the baby's future that leave Emma feeling suffocated. The tension grows thicker with each passing day. One evening, after another, argument about whether Emma should keep working part-time at the cafe. She retreats to the garden, a rare spot where she feels some semblance of peace. Sitting under the stars, she lets tears fall freely. She hates how small Adrian makes her feel, how his need to dominate every aspect of their lives chips away at her sense of self. Yet there's a part of her that understands him, or at least tries to. She sees glimpses of vulnerability beneath his steely exterior, moments when his guard drops, and she catches a flash of the man he might have been. before power hardened him. Meanwhile, Adrian paces his study, frustration boiling over. He knows he's pushing Emma too hard, but he can't stop himself. Fear drives him. The fear of losing her, of failing as a father, of repeating the mistakes his own parents made. His father was distant, cold, obsessed with building an empire, while neglecting his family. Adrian swore he'd never be like him. Yet here he is, repeating the same patterns. Guilt gnaws at him, but instead of addressing it, he buries it deeper, channeling it into work and micromanaging every detail of their lives. Just as things seem unbearable, the past rears its ugly head. Adrian receives a call from someone he hasn't heard from in years. Victoria Langston, a woman whose name sends chills down his spine. Once a close associate, and briefly something more, Victoria disappeared from his life after a scandal that nearly destroyed his company. Now, she's back, claiming to want closure. But Adrian knows better. Victoria thrives on chaos, and her sudden reappearance can only mean trouble. When Victoria arrives uninvited at the mansion, Emma is caught off guard. Dressed impeccably and exuding confidence, Victoria introduces herself as an old friend of Adrian's. Something about her sets Emma on edge, though she can't quite put her finger on why. As the two women exchange polite pleasantries, Adrian walks in, his jaw tightening at the sight of Victoria. The air crackles with tension as he ushers her into his office, leaving Emma standing awkwardly in the hallway, her heart pounding with unease. Later that night, unable to sleep, Emma overhears fragments of their conversation through the closed door. Words like betrayal, secrets, and liabilities drift out, sending her imagination spiraling. What is Victoria doing here? What secrets is she threatening to expose? And most importantly, what does any of it have to do with Adrian and their unborn children? Determined to find answers, Emma begins digging into Adrian's past. With the help of Mia, her best friend since childhood, she uncovers pieces of a puzzle that paint a troubling picture. It turns out Adrian wasn't always the polished CEO everyone sees today. Before building his empire, he was involved in shady deals, cutting corners to get ahead. Some of those deals were linked to Victoria, and rumors suggest she played a role in orchestrating schemes that could still come back to haunt him. As Emma learns more, she starts questioning everything. Is Adrian protecting her or using her to shield himself from scrutiny? Could his insistence on marriage be less about love and responsibility and more about covering up skeletons in his closet? The thought terrifies her, yet she can't ignore the evidence mounting against him. Meanwhile, Adrian faces increasing pressure from all sides. Victoria isn't content with idle threats. She demands restitution for past wrongs, hinting at legal action unless Adrian complies with her demands. At the same time, Emma's growing distance pains him more than he cares to admit. He sees the doubt creeping into her eyes, hears the hesitation in her voice when she speaks to him. Desperate to win back her trust, he offers to take her away for a weekend getaway, a chance to reconnect, far from the chaos surrounding them. But fate has other plans. Just as they prepare to leave, Emma goes into early labor. Panic grips Adrian as he rushes her to the hospital, his mind racing with worst-case scenarios. Will the baby survive? Is Emma strong enough to endure this ordeal? And what will happen to their fragile relationship once the truth comes out? Hours later, amidst the sterile hum of machines and hushed voices of nurses, Emma gives birth to 3 tiny miracles. Holding her newborns for the first time, she feels a surge of love so powerful it takes her breath away. For a moment, all the pain and uncertainty fade. replaced by awe and gratitude. But when she looks up to find Adrian standing in the doorway, his face pale and unreadable, she realizes the storm isn't over. It's just beginning, because outside the hospital room, Victoria waits, armed with documents that could tear apart everything Adrian has built, including his newfound family. As the clock ticks toward confrontation, Emma must decide whom to believe, the man who claims to love her, or the proof suggesting otherwise. And Adrian, he's running out of time to prove he's worthy of redemption. With emotions raw and stakes higher than ever, the stage is set for a showdown that will change their lives forever. Will love conquer all, or will secrets tear them apart? The answer lies just beyond the horizon. But getting there won't be easy. The hospital room feels like a fortress under siege, with Adrian pacing anxiously near the door while Emma cradles them, their fragile newborns. Each wail of the babies seems to echo louder than the last. Amplifying the tension hanging thick in the air, Victoria's presence looms just outside, patient, calculated, and dangerous. She knows she holds all the cards, but what neither she nor Adrian realizes is that Emma has already uncovered the truth about his past. When Victoria finally steps into the room, her smile is sharp enough to cut glass. "Congratulations," she says sweetly, though her eyes are anything but warm. She hands Adrian an envelope, her fingers lingering on his for just a moment too long. Inside are documents detailing old business deals, shady investments, and names of people who could ruin him if they spoke out. But there's more. A handwritten letter from years ago, addressed to Victoria, signed in Adrian's handwriting. It reads like a confession, a promise to protect her interests no matter the cost. Emma watches silently as Adrian scans the papers, his face growing paler with every word. Her heart sinks, not because she's surprised. He's always been a man with secrets, but because she sees the shame etched into his features. For the first time, she understands why he's fought so hard to keep control. Fear of losing everything he's worked for. Fear of being exposed as someone unworthy of love or trust. Yet, instead of anger, Emma feels something unexpected. Compassion. She knows what it's like to carry guilt, to feel trapped by choices you can't undo. "I'm not here to destroy you, Adrian," Victoria says, coolly, breaking the silence. "I'm offering you a chance to make things right. Sign these papers, transfer half your shares to me, and I'll walk away. Otherwise," her voice trails off meaningfully, leaving the threat unspoken but clear. Adrian hesitates, torn between protecting his empire and preserving whatever fragile bond remains with Emma. He looks at her then, at the exhaustion lining her face, the way she clutches their babies protectively, and makes a decision. Slowly, deliberately, he rips the documents in two. "No deal," he says, his voice steady, despite the storm raging inside him. "You want my company? Take it, but you won't touch my family." For a moment, Victoria looks stunned. Then her expression hardens, and she turns to leave. Before she reaches the door, however, Emma speaks up. "Wait," she says softly, surprising even herself. When everyone turns to look at her, she continues, "You think ruining Adrian will give you peace? You're wrong. Holding on to hate, it only eats away at you. Trust me, I know." Her words hit home. Victoria freezes, her mask slipping just enough to reveal the pain beneath. Without another word, she walks out, leaving behind the remnants of a battle none of them truly wanted to fight. In the aftermath, Adrian collapses into a chair, running a hand through his hair as relief washes over him. But the real work begins. Now, turning to Emma, he takes a deep breath, I don't deserve you, he admits, his voice raw. Or them. He nods toward the babies. But I swear, I'll spend the rest of my life proving I'm worthy. Emma studies him carefully, searching for any trace of deception. All she finds is vulnerability, the kind that scares him more than losing his fortune ever could. After a long pause, she nods. Then start by letting me help you, she says. We're a team now, whether you like it or not. Over the following weeks, Adrian begins dismantling the walls he's built around himself. With Emma's support, he confronts the mistakes of his past, reaching out to those he wronged and making amends where possible. It's not easy. In fact, it's one of the hardest things he's ever done. But seeing the pride in Emma's eyes makes it worth every sleepless night. Together, they rebuild not just their relationship, but also their lives, creating a new foundation based on honesty and mutual respect. As for the triplets, they become the glue that binds them together. Watching Adrian hold his children for the first time, tears streaming down his face, Emma realizes this is the man she married, not the ruthless CEO, but the father who would do anything to protect his family. And Adrian, looking at Emma's radiant smile as she coos over their babies, understands that love isn't about control. It's about surrendering to something greater than yourself. Months later, standing in the garden where Emma once sought solace, they share a quiet moment. The mansion still feels grand, but it's warmer now, filled with laughter and the sounds of tiny feet pattering across the floor. Do you think we'll ever stop fighting? Emma asks teasingly, leaning against him. Probably not. Adrian replies, pulling her closer. But I wouldn't trade it for the world. And maybe that's the lesson they've both learned. Love isn't perfect, and neither are they. But it's in the messiness, the arguments, the compromises, the sacrifices, that true connection is forged. As the sun sets, casting golden light over their little family, they know they've found something rare and precious, something worth fighting for.